Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Thank you guys so much for being here today and joining us on this fine Wednesday. This is a glitch in the matrix where sometimes we get a little glitchy over here. And today we have an incredible show lined up for you guys. I have Lyn Parsons here in the studio with me. And honestly, my jaw is still on the floor from some of the stuff she was just telling me backstage in regard to some of her time overseas and being I'm going to say cadaver dog handler, okay, but a human remains detector dog handler, I think is the correct term. I'm close, okay, it's something like that. and what she has spent a lot of time, I mean, decades doing this, y'all, and she's had some very spooky and strange encounters out there in the field. On the search and rescue type, I don't know if it's search and rescue exactly, but detecting the bodies and stuff. Okay, and I actually did spend some time yesterday, y'all, watching some videos and of exactly what these cadaver dogs are out there doing, and these search and rescue dogs. It is, I mean, I got emotional, y'all. It is wild, and I'm going to connect some dots to some of the cryptid research, tracking, and things like that we do. How that kind of relates to similar stuff, kind of what she does. I've got some questions for her, of course. We're gonna get deep into this discussion today. It's going to be fantastic. This is a very first having Lyn on the show. You guys will recognize her from being in the chats and stuff. And she and I are from around the same area here in Georgia. And so yes, we have much to discuss. We already feel like we're homegirls, y'all. Okay, so. So you guys, please, if you want to check out my website and learn more about the Cryptid Huntress, go over to my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. You can find all my shows over there, all my social media links, and more. Okay, just go over there, my calendar of events. I do have an event coming up in October, the Cornwallis Bigfoot Town Hall down in South Alabama is coming up in October. Of course, I do have a Patreon, and I have an Etsy shop if you guys would like to support my work. Okay, thank you guys so much for all your support. It means the world to me. Okay, also, thank you so much to all my moderators for being here today and everybody who is in the chats. We are broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X at the moment. So thank you. Welcome in, everybody. And be sure to hit that like button before y'all leave today. Okay, share the videos out. Okay, well, let's get to our show today. So today, Lyn Parsons is joining us to discuss, we're going to discuss some cryptids and creepy paranormal experiences throughout the years that she's had overseas. As a U.S. cadaver dog handler, Lyn Parsons is a lifelong lover of the supernatural and the spooky. She grew up watching Scooby Doo, just like me, and continues to seek out the mysteries. Lyn is a former human remains detection dog handler and has volunteered with homicide departments all over Florida and Georgia. She worked in Panama searching for the remains of political prisoners from the Manuel Noriega timeframe. She worked in Ecuador, Aruba, St. Martin, and completed these deployments, or 3 deployments in Iraq. Lyn searched for missing service members, coalition members, Department of Defense employees, contractors, mass graves, as well as evidence recovery. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy this conversation today. Please help me welcome to the show, Miss Lyn Parsons. Hey, Lyn.
Oh no, I've lost volume again. Crap.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. All right. We were having a little bit of audio issues a while ago. And so she switched over to her phone, y'all. Okay, we're gonna get Lyn back up here in just a minute. Like I said, you guys are going to really enjoy this today. While we're waiting for Lyn to come back, I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you guys. Well, actually, she's back. She's back. Let's see if this will work. Okay, we'll see if the audio is working. Is that better?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Welcome in, Lyn. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this.
Of course, I'm looking forward to this too. And I was telling the audience, I got a little emotional last night watching some videos of cadaver dogs, the process of them being trained and the handlers and what you guys do and the situations they're put in and how, I mean, just all of it was very emotional for me. And so, first of all, I want to thank you for your service because you're doing a big service, Lyn.
Oh, you are very welcome. It gave me a feeling that I was doing something important in the world, and I loved it.
Oh yeah, you are doing something very important, and and it sounds quite grim, actually. Going to locate bodies of missing people. I mean, that's one of the soapboxes I stand on. Or where are all these missing people going, and our national parks, and
Yeah.
and really get into this missing persons data. Okay, there's a lot of missing people out there, and if you can just bring one body home or locate people, for their families, you're saving that family's lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're providing a part that allows them closure. It's I One of my sticking points is dog handlers saying I provided closure to the family. You're providing one tool in the process to reaching closure, and knowing what happened to your family member, having a place to grieve, that is part of it, and it's a very important part. So I was always very proud of what I did and very proud of my team members and everyone who does this.
Oh yeah. So you have a team of, I keep calling them cadaver dogs, but is that the correct term?
Um, well, I'm a former human remains detection dog handler.
Hmm.
Um, I developed PTSD after deploying to Iraq several times. So, but I still have many contacts in that world. I help to move rescue dogs into that world. Um, and like I had a really wonderful, well, to me, wonderful surprise, maybe not so wonderful surprise to my friend, but I donated a golden retriever that is a disaster dog now, and he oopsied and became a dad unplanned. So there, I think a week old, it's a week old field line golden retriever puppies. So
Oh,
and so in between his neuter and anyway, he snuck one in.
oh no. Oh man, I tell you what, those male dogs, they're gonna do that. Okay.
They
Well,
are smarter than we give them credit for.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get into some of your background with it as far as I was really interested in a lot of the overseas work you were doing in Iraq and stuff, but you've been doing this. I mean, how did you get into this? Like, what got you interested in this? And
It was a
mhm.
it was a fluke, really. I owned a pet grooming and boarding business in Largo, Florida, and I had a Pomeranian and a Pomeranian Chihuahua mix that I was walking before I went to work one morning, and I saw bushes moving, and my little Pomeranian Chihuahua mix wanted to go check it out. I thought it was a raccoon at first, and I wander over, and it's actually a World War II veteran who had been missing for 10 days. And he was still alive. He'd been getting water from the water spigot at the house. He was just it was a very heavily urban area. He walked every day to the store, and he had developed Alzheimer's. So he just one day missed his usual turn and ended up somewhere. And um, looking back now, like at the time, I had no combat experience. But looking back now, I know what he was going through in his mind, because once you start developing Alzheimer's, you actually revert back to the most traumatizing times in your life, whether you want that or not. So they had sent rescue teams. There were law enforcement was looking for him. They had sent patrol dogs, but he was actively evading the enemy, because in his mind, I'm sure, like, I didn't talk to him, but this is my opinion, only my opinion. Don't do this at home strictly for entertainment purposes. But it is my opinion that he was evading the rescue workers that were searching for him, and it was just a fluke that I happened to walk up on him. And my now ex-husband, his best friend at the time, was the maintenance man at the place where that man went missing from. And I mentioned it to him, and he said, "Oh, this guy's missing." So he ran over, grabbed the guy's niece, who was his caretaker, brought her over, and 911 was called. And so he was taken in to get the help that he needed. Had a change in people taking care of him. And anyway, that got me interested in search and rescue. I looked at the local team, and they required all of this stuff, land navigation, wilderness survival, first aid, wilderness, everything, tracking.
Right.
And I thought, there is no way. I'm just a poor girl from a poor, right? And I could never learn all of this. And, but it stuck with me, and I couldn't get rid of it. And I started following the team on social media, what they were doing, and they offered a open training and membership drive. So I joined the team. At the time, I did not have a functional dog, which actually worked out well for me, because I was able to tech for various types of dogs and decide which type of dog I wanted to handle myself. So I learned land navigation, man tracking, map reading. Um, we had to learn first aid to the level of a first responder, um, just all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff. And and my technical guru, him and I would set up land navigation courses and stuff. And anyway, he was a good guy, and I miss him dearly. He's passed on, but he would tell me often that I would need a Marine to marry me, because no one else could survive me. And he's really not wrong.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, and so I got my dog, and as he was a puppy, I started taking him to structured obedience classes with local law enforcement. And over time, I took over the obedience classes from that law enforcement officer. He was the bomb dog and cross-trained cadaver dog guy and training coordinator for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. And so we would train oftentimes with them, and we train 2 nights a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and when we respond to searches on the weekends. So it quickly became my life.
Oh, that's actually okay. So that sounds really fun to me, and I have taken a lot of these kind of courses like you've taken to do the cryptid field research that I do, which is wild, right?
Yeah,
It's kind of similar in a way, and of course I've got a bunch of retired veterans and stuff that I roll around with, and we do all this, land navigation, tracking, human tracking, animal tracking, like the man
right.
tracking. I love that stuff. Okay,
I do too. And
it's
setting up,
tedious.
yeah, but you can set up like observation. Pardon me, I have an ADHD, so I'm incapable of sitting in a chair like a normal person. But
It's okay. Me too.
absolutely, it's gosh, I lost track of where I was going with this. But
But yeah, the
observation. Yeah, you can set up observation test with land navigation. Like if you're actually out and you're looking for someone, we would take a deck of playing cards, and we'd lay out a land navigation course. And we would set, you already know, with a set of playing cards, you have 52 cards. So along that course that we would set out, we would place these cards so that they exercised your ability to be observant within the searcher's cube, which is up, down, side to side, and behind you. So we would we would be very creative in the places that we put cards, and we would make it a game, like whoever finds this gets a compass. Who They had to have a compass to be there to begin with, but there'd be like little prizes and stuff as incentive for people to come and take our course.
Oh man, that is so cool. Well,
Yeah,
okay. So you take your dogs out there with you when you're doing all this land nav and stuff, all the courses, or did you do that separate from your dog?
that was separate from the
Mhm.
dog. I became a SARTEC 2 in order to do that, which was the minimum requirement for my team to be able to be fieldable. And yeah, technically you're supposed to be out there with your dog, have your
Mhm.
compass, your GPS, have the ability to do everything with your dog at your side.
Oh man, that is so cool. I was looking over. I was kind of side eyeing my little hound dog over here, Buddy. I actually got some tennis balls out this morning, and I was seeing if he would. He really loves his balls. I was like, man, he would make a great search and rescue dog, I think. And
Toy drive is what it's all about.
toy drive. I learned these terms on those videos I was watching. Yes.
Yes,
And then,
yes.
so he's really smart. He's really smart. My German Shepherd would have been perfect for this, but she passed
Oh,
away a few
yes.
weeks ago. Freya passed away, and Buddy showed up the week before she died, and so I got Buddy now, and he loves to go hiking and stuff. So we're going to maybe get him into some training, Lynn. Okay,
Absolutely. It's
get myself into training too.
Hey, hound dogs like to put their nose down, and is he an air scent? Does he keep his nose up in the air, or does he put it on the ground?
He does both actually. I'm gonna say, well, he puts his little foot up in the air too whenever he's on the trail of something, and so I think he's like a blue tick hound or something like that. He's a
Yep.
mix, I think.
Yep. I
Hmm.
I've done some co-instructing, and this one lady, she worked a pointer. And the first time the dog was exposed to the odor of human remains, he immediately went into a point. But she had seen my dog working. My dog was a bark alert, and she wanted a bark alert. And I'm like,
Bark.
you just, come on. He's pointing, he's showing you this is work with the natural abilities of your dog, you know? And but I'm a
Like
little
you can.
different about it.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
No, go
If you
ahead.
if you're in a dangerous situation though, like you've gone into like war situations where there's like you're getting shot at and stuff,
Yes,
and you don't want a dog to bark in that situation. I would think, right? If they're like
you
trying to
do not.
locate something.
It definitely became a liability in the end. And I had, yeah, a sit alert or a down alert or a point would have been preferable.
Oh my gosh, Lynn, it is really wild. I mean, it's really dangerous. Some of the you know situations that you and your dog have gotten into. I'm thinking, when I'm thinking about like the search and rescue dogs and the cadaver dogs, I'm thinking of 9/11, and it was the most heartbreaking thing watching those dogs getting put on like a pulley system and like kind of being taken over the rubble and like dropped off into it or something. That was some of the worst media coverage. I mean, I say the worst because it was so emotional watching that with
Yeah,
those
very
dogs.
much. That
Yeah.
was one of the things that was a tipping point in my decision to, well, I want to do this. I've been interested in this. And I was at work grooming dogs when everything happened. And so, yeah, that was, and then later in training, I hated disaster work. I did it because it was required in my team. We responded to Hurricane Katrina. Um, and it was absolutely the worst and most horrific. And not just the human remains in the wake, but animal remains everywhere. There were animals hanging over electric lines and wedged in trees, and it was just horrific. And the same thing in Iraq, working uh, vehicle borne IEDs at mosque and stuff. The It is the children and the animals, the complete waste of life and disregard for humanity and animal. Like, I love animals. I am
Mhm.
all about animals. So that was, to me, the worst part. So it was much easier for me to do historical remains than it was to do this up close and personal. Oh my
Mhm.
God, it
Yeah.
it changes who you are. It really does.
Oh man. Well, first of all, thank you, Angel, for that super sticker. She says, "Hey JJ, love and light to you both. Much respect, Lynn. Thank you for your
Thank you.
service."
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you, Angel. That's so sweet. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you over here, big time. So thank you for that. Well, you're talking about historical remains. Now you went down to South America. You were down there during, was it the Noriega time frame? You said.
Manuel Noriega, that was
Mhm.
historical work. One of the people that went missing that we've never found that I've always wondered about, as out of Louisville, Georgia, was a missing fisherman. And Rudy was young. He was like 11 months old at the time. But I had sent him on Age Remains before because I was interested in history. I've always been a history nerd. So we're searching for this man. The town has rerouted an entire creek trying to find him. There's divers that have gone into alligator dens into the creek bank. Multiple dogs have come and worked, and they're alerting. And it's cold at the time that I'm there looking for them. The divers are getting angry. They're not used to cold water diving, and they kept going in. They weren't finding anything, and they go in again. They weren't finding anything, and finally, I'm like, look, let's take the dog, and we'll work upstream, and everywhere the dog alerts, we'll flag it, and we'll just keep working until he stops alerting, and we'll see what we find. So did that, and he veered off up to a ridge line, and there was it was the body of Howell Cobb Sr., whose son was a brigadier general during the Civil War. It was known his resting place was in that county, but they didn't know exactly where. And Cobb County was named for this family. So it was another fluke. Still didn't find the missing fisherman. He's missing to this day, which, with all the dogs sent, everything that they sent tracking dogs, they sent cadaver dogs, they did full tilt ATV searches. Teams came in, I mean, but we never found him. Um, a second one is out of the Green Swamp in Florida. It was a squirrel hunter, and he has never been found. They found his uh, orange vest, safety vest, where he liked to hunt. I think his rifle maybe, and his truck. So there was like three different GPS points. By the time I got there, um I kind of had the uh it was Polk County at the time, and they are still Polk County, and there was a my team leader sent me into the incident command trailer to talk with the sheriff's officers and handlers and deputies that were there. And so there was this one man that was there, and he was kind of giving me a hard time. He's like, well, we've had cadaver dog handlers here, and they haven't found anything, and da da da. And, so I'm telling him, well, how cadaver dogs work and this, that, and the other. And I just say, and there had recently been a story about a bloodhound handler out of Polk County who had a successful track in a shopping mall. And I said, well, hey, out of your county, there was recently a successful track with a bloodhound in a shopping mall. And according to some handlers, they believe that a bloodhound tracks on the odor of crushed vegetation. If that were true, then that bloodhound would have never been able to find that man. So the other law enforcement guys, they start giggling, and he kind of stands up and he does his whoop, whoop, whoop. Well, I think I'm going to walk along. I'm going to go with this little lady right here. And it turns out he was the bloodhound handler that had found that man, and he was testing me, which is often done.
Yeah.
And, this could be just a stupid girl. We don't know.
Hmm.
And so I was tested. And but he was a hunter himself. He recently come from hunting with family members in Alabama, I believe. And so we're going from waypoint to waypoint. And there's this one area, just really huge, smushed down grass. And I'm looking at it, and the dog's not alerting on anything. He's having a great day wandering through the green swamp, though. And
Hmm.
so here's this smush vegetation, and he's looking at it, and he's like, what is this? And I go, oh, maybe it's a deer with babies or something. He's like, I don't know, that's pretty big. And it really was. It was a huge area. And so those are the two things that I wonder if there was not something weird going on. But the Green Swamp has a long history of hauntings and people being killed and Native American stuff and Seminole War. So it's a blood drenched area.
And skunk apes, Lynn.
Yes. And skunk apes. Many, many reports of skunk apes.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I have friends that go and research that area down there. I know several people down there, and also I want to thank Skip. Thank you, Skip, for that super sticker. Good show as always.
Yep.
Thank you for being here, Skip. And okay, so there's plenty of like skunk ape sightings. There's even, what is that? Dave Shealy has his skunk ape museum down a little south of there, I believe.
Yeah, Dave Shealy has him and his brother had their first encounter as children. He runs, or his family, it's family owned property. His son actually now runs the business, but it's Skunk Ape headquarters, and it's on the same site as Trail Lakes Campground. And he's got wonderful evidence, tracks. There's a video of skunk apes from, I think it was the year 2000 on Unsolved Mysteries. And Dave is just a hoot anyway. He's funny as can be. I love hanging out with him.
Yeah, I got to make my way down there sometime, and I
Yeah,
want to go. I want to go python hunting. Do you ever go snake hunting down there?
I do occasionally. It's not something I do regularly, but I occasionally get insomnia, and I make it count when I go down and wander around the dirt road. So I tell my war stories and search and rescue stories and hunt for snakes and you know.
Oh gosh. Oh my god. That I'm kind of torn on like wanting to do that actually because they've got like 250-pound snakes and stuff out there. I'm not sure I'm ready for that, Lynn.
Oh yeah, Dusty Crumb, he came to we had a our there was a skunk ape camp out and thing, and Dusty Crumb came and did a talk there at Dave Shealy's place. And I think his largest is 17 foot, but he had the skin with him, and it was big enough for the snake to have eaten two people my size. Like, cause I'm a short queen. I am almost 5'2", so I'm a little rounder than I used to be. But yeah, it could have eaten two short queens easy.
Dang, we all are, Lynn. Okay. So oh my gosh. Well, that is terrifying. And yeah, I mean, and I always give kudos to all of my Bigfoot field researchers down there that go down in the swamps and stuff. I mean, that's a whole different ball game down there. Okay, and of course I've done a little bit of research up in Chattahoochee, Florida, a long
Yeah.
time ago, but I haven't gotten in the swamps too much. Okay, because of the alligators and stuff. I'm not a fan of that either. But I think that that would be a good deterrent from humans to go in those areas. So that's probably where the Bigfoots will be, I would think.
Yes, very much so. And
Mhm.
there's water all the time. Like we're in a heavy, heavy drought right now. So no matter how low the water level gets, there's going to be areas, gator holes and whatnot, which are going to hold water, and all of the game are going to come to these last holdouts. So yeah, it's a great place to hunt and to hydrate
Yes.
and to stay
Well,
cool.
oh my gosh, yes. Well, it is very hot today. I don't know about y'all down there, but down in Georgia, I'm having a hard time even breathing when I walk outside. It's so
Yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's awful.
Speaking of which, I don't know why I just thought of this, but I was going to ask you about the training, and this all goes hand in hand with the training that some of the training I've had. Okay, when it comes to like the tracking and the Bigfoot stuff, I've been talking a lot about Bigfoot bodies being found. Okay, I knew this was
Yep.
going to probably come up today, but people claim to have found Bigfoot bodies and stuff, and some of them put them in museums. Most of them are all proved. They've all been proven as hoaxes. Most of them.
Yep.
But and I guess that's why I've gone through some of this training. But some of the guys on my team and girls went up to the body farm up in Knoxville. I think it's up in Tennessee, right?
Yep.
Is that part of your training too? Have you done stuff like that?
Um, I did not attend a body farm, but yes, there is training. One of my former uh, cadaver dog friends, longtime co-workers, he runs one in Texas at Texas A&M and does it's called FACTS, acronym FACTS. They do everything from puppy novice training, which if you're gonna do, and at this point in my training, I think that if you're gonna do fresh bodies, um, that is disasters, recent homicides. That is absolutely crucial training, because at the time that I started, we did not have the availability to train on full bodies. The team that I trained with, we had a good reputation, good working relationship with our local morgue. So the mortician would, or the not the mortician, but the gentleman who would do autopsies, he would take, we would take old towels or buy new uh, white towels, and they would put them down on the table so that as they did the autopsies, all the body fluids would come out onto the towels and soak them up, and then we could take the fluids and we started by retrieval. We would put it in a PVC pipe with holes in it and use it as a retrieval toy for several weeks just to bond the dog to the odor. Now there are different methods for training that does not, because now it's no longer a thing. They don't want the dogs to put their teeth on the remains at all. So all handling of the remains, putting of teeth on bone or anything is discouraged. So you train now for a passive sit alert at the odor, so you're not confusing a scientist later who's doing the autopsy or the forensic anthropologist reading the bones as to what happened to the victim.
Oh wow! Because the dogs would go and actually maybe bite the victim when they found it, or
It
I don't
has
know. I
been
know
known
this
to happen.
kind of gross talking about this, y'all. I apologize. I know it's lunchtime thing,
I have
but it's all good. Okay, so y'all be warned. I should have done a warning before the show today, but I mean, you got to understand we're talking about corpses and stuff, y'all. Okay,
yeah,
Lynn, thank
yeah,
you for being so like upfront about that and like talking about it, because I know I've always wondered about that.
yeah. It's it is highly discouraged but
Mhm.
it has not always been highly discouraged. So
Oh, DNA contamination too. Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, with the body farm now, there's actually a more proper name for that place. It's the Forensic Anthropology Center, but a
yes,
lot of people call it the body farm. And
yeah,
and I've had at least 3 or 4 of my teammates go up there and do some training, and they said it was rough. I mean,
gruesome.
rough,
Yep,
gruesome.
yeah,
People donate their bodies when they die to that, to science, and
yep,
I guess, yeah.
yep. A One of the things that my dog had issues with, because we did go to the morgue to train, and it was too much odor for some of the dogs. Like one of the German shepherds, before he ever hit the door to the morgue, he was, I mean, low crawling. It was over low. And so I got Rudy in there, and he was I think there were like 7 bodies at the time. And it's not like you see on TV, these are naked bodies, so that kind of freaked me out at first. I'm a little repressed. Um, so I was a little freaked out, and I had to work past it. And then, there's these full bodies that I'm seeing for the first time, because not only has the dog been just working on odor, we've not been exposed to this. So we have to be exposed to it also. And so, I'm walking the dog around the things, and I'm just thinking in my head, fingers and toes, fingers and toes. I'm refusing to look. I'm walking my dog, I'm seeing how my dog reacts. And he did good. He alerted until he came to a body that had been partially burned in a wreck, and that he didn't alert at first. And so he put his feet up on the table, and he like looked at the face, and it was like the first time he recognized that it was a human, and then he jumped back. And so yeah, it was weird. And then we go into the cooler, and there had recently been a recovery of someone who had been buried, partially buried, or buried in a shallow grave, and animals had gotten, so was partially exposed. So the upper part was bone, connective tissue, skeletal, and the lower part was adipocere, which is it's a waxy type substance that in wet environments the body will turn to wax, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So, and that was sensory overload for him. So I had to, in order to work my dog and bring him out of him being freaked out, I get down on my hands and knees on the floor and encourage until he barked. So yeah, it's
Oh my gosh.
yeah, and
He,
it's no,
he
and
realized that he was like, oh, what I've been sniffing this whole time is a dead human.
yeah, there's a
Oh,
face to this odor.
poor man. That's got to be a terrible, I mean, a weird realization for the dog. It's
Well,
got to
to the
be.
dog, it is a game. They
Mhm.
don't, you don't, because the dog feels everything you feel. All of your emotions go down the leash. So you try to clear your mind. You don't want to be upset. You don't want to be mad at a teammate. You don't want to be mad at your boyfriend. You don't want to be mad at your dog because he's acting weird. You want to breathe, calm down, let your dog be able to work without you stressing them out. And yeah, so you want the dog to always think it's a fun game. They're happy to do it, happy go lucky. I get my toy. This is a good game. But you also, as a handler, you need to be able to read your dog, like searching for bodies in water. Um, there are various methods to doing it, and I'm at this seminar in Texas in between deployments, and we're finally able to train on full bodies. And so they've got buried bodies in various positions to train on, and we've got parts, and which is huge. And so we're training, and they're using what's called a scent pumper. So they have remains, and they're pumping the odor like as bubbles up for the dog, and they're using a toy reward, a bobber, to get the dog's attention. And my dog was kind of freaking out, and he wouldn't like go into the water. And I'm like, I'll be damned. I'll be ding danged. This is a golden retriever, and I got him specifically to search for they search for the dead remains of ducks on water. He needs to be able to search for the remains of humans on water. And so I just walked into the water, and he goes by my side, and we walk right up to it. And, he's like swimming circles, and you had to, train your dog to be fully off lead, so they're obedience trained. So you had to, this was for search this side, and this is for search this side, and this is come to me, and this is down. And so you have to be able to communicate. And golden retriever field trainers, this is part of what they do. Your dog needs to be able to see which direction to work on water. So I was able to go to areas of water, send my dog, direct him from shore, whereas other handlers who did not work that kind of dog did not have that kind of training or didn't do that kind of training. So there is a call for every breed of dog and every type of talent of dog in search and rescue.
And I was shocked that every breed just about is in search and rescue in some sort. I mean, maybe not every single breed. I don't know if there's Chihuahuas out there, y'all. I don't know, but there is a bunch. I was shocked.
I worked with a lady. She was a FEMA handler, and as a joke, she trained her long-haired Chihuahua. She called it her handheld unit. So yeah, and I knew a narcotics dog handler that wanted to see if his wife's Yorkie would work out, and he said that was the best little dog he ever. He could toss it up in a pile of luggage. He didn't need to spread the luggage. The dog looked just all over the place, and when he found it. So absolutely.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I think that's so cool. I mean, just think of the possibilities of even like all the shelter dogs and stuff. Every dog just wants to. I don't want to say they all want to work. Some dogs like to lay around, right? But
Yeah.
there's working dogs out there, and they can be put to work doing this stuff. I mean, it's
Yes.
amazing.
I
love it.
have rehab dogs. One of the cadaver dogs that I had trained with when I was stateside ended up as a casualty of divorce. It was a privately owned, like a lot of law enforcement officers will privately own a cadaver dog. And so they might not be a part of their actual cadaver dog or canine team, but they're a law enforcement officer with a working, or a fire department person with a working cadaver dog. So I've forgotten where I was going with this. But anyway, yeah, it is a neat environment, and you meet some incredible people and some incredible dogs and incredible circumstances of how people got to be where they're at.
I love that. Okay, well, so I would assume that like whenever there's a missing person or there's a case where somebody knows there's probably a body somewhere, you're going to be called in to do these cases. Kind of like, I hate to say this, but like you're one of the last resorts kind of to like go find a body. Is that how that works? Because I know like after you've gone in there and everybody's looking for a body, when they can't find anything, that's when the head of my team gets called in for some psychic investigators to come in. And that has happened because I have done several cases. I've been a part of some cases out of Georgia, actually, where some law enforcement officials have contacted the head of my team, and he sent out some high priority remote viewing targets for us to go help try to locate bodies and try to find out what happened to people. Even after their bodies are found, they don't know what happened to them sometimes. And that's when they call us in.
Absolutely. There will be psychics calling in to give tips. Generally, dogs or cadaver dogs don't get, like most teams require that law enforcement give them the call, or a member of a recognized organization, emergency management or whatever, to give them an official call out. You don't self-deploy. Self-deploying makes you lose all credibility that way.
Oh.
But yes, psychics are generally a part of it, and yeah, I've had some of them are right, some of them are wrong. You know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, see, with us, we just have data. We just have remote viewing data on blind targets, so we don't even know what these targets are at
Yep.
all. And I have with some of my data, I've actually helped locate where bodies were going to emerge from the water at Lake Allatoona or Lake Lanier. Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, it's really cool. And the body did come up there, by the way, and I didn't know what I was remote viewing. The Buford Dam was in my data. Okay,
Ooh.
so this is super cool to hear you talk about this today. And
Yeah.
I wanted, we had a question in this. We have a lot of questions, by the way, y'all. I want the
Okay.
audience to know that I am saving your question. So if I see a question, I'm saving it for the end of the show today or whenever it pops up. Max would like to know, Jess, did Lyn's dogs ever find any MIAs still alive?
No, we the military had their own combat tracking dogs. When we were in the military, our only job was human remains detection. So we were approached at various times about our dogs' tracking capabilities if we could track, and but no, that was not something that we did. Our parameters were very specific.
Mm-hmm. And I did want to point out too, I would never, none of us ever as remote viewers would ever like try to jump on the case and send our data and like our information to a police department
Yeah.
unless we were asked, because they get highly suspicious that you might have been a part of that. Okay.
And downright irritated.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't recommend doing that, y'all. And I know there's a lot of people out there. I'm going to have the head of my team wants to come on one day, and who taught me remote viewing, by the way. And we're gonna discuss all that on the show one day, Lyn, because there's a lot of people who haven't had the training in remote viewing that are remote viewing, okay, and they may reach out to law enforcement more than us, okay, stuff like that. But just be real careful, y'all, because you're gonna get on the radar if you start doing stuff like that in a bad way.
Yeah.
We have another question here from Pyro Medit. What's up, Pyro? He says, had Lyn ever had a dog act weird when finding its target? Like there may be something paranormal there.
Not on odor, no. But the home I grew up in Douglasville, it was a historic home. It had started out as a 3-room home in 1815 and had grown into a 16-room house. It's across from Hudson's Hickory House. Jessica may know.
I know where that is.
Yep, that big white house. That was my home, and my parents collected Native American artifacts. They collected antiques. The house was old as heck. So my dog, my mother's my mother's my parents' Indian relic room, my dog would start alerting on that room at the top of the hallway, and it was all the way at the end. So I knew by and she had there was one finger bone in that collection, but that let me know that those artifacts had been grave robbed by my dog's reaction. The odor of human remains absorbs into the rocks and into the dirt around where a human body is, and you basically melt like an ice cream cone, and then vegetation pulls your odor up into trees and into the grass. And but my working dog Rudy at my mom's house, after she had passed, I took him there, and they had this huge formal dining room table, sat like 12 people, and it looked like he was playing fetch around this dining room table. He was going to something on one side, wagging his tail, and then he'd run to the other side, wagging his tail. And then later, I had picked up a female French bulldog as a puppy, and she was staring into that room from the living room and started barking, her hackles raised up. So they recognize and see things. But I think a lot of times with a working dog, they may be so focused on their job and what they're looking for because they just want that toy. Like they don't give a crap if Aunt Ruth is poking them or, Uncle Bob is doing weird stuff. They don't care. They're trying to get their toy to play with. They don't recognize it's a dead person.
Oh my gosh, that is fascinating. Okay, so I've always wondered about that, especially around even at cemeteries.
Oh, yeah.
Even at cemeteries, it's like there's trees out there. There's a. Let's just talk about like where I go bigfooting and looking for dogmen, like at the LBL. Okay, the Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky. That whole place is just one big gigantic cemetery. Okay,
Yep.
there are over 300 cemeteries at that on that land, and they're in the lake as well. And I've always wondered about like all the trees in the area and like the grass and stuff. Does that have the scent of some of these dead bodies? You think like
It will
do
pull
the
a dog that is trained. I mean, yes, when a dog goes out there, the dog doesn't just smell a pine tree and grass. They smell every organism on that pine tree, every beetle, everything, every bird that has left odor on that pine tree, every animal that has gone through the grass. So they will pick up the odor of everything. It's just a matter of training them to specifically alert on one of those odors.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. In my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, there's so many. I know dogs are not dog men. Okay, but there is some canine element to these dog men, and Lynn, they are very often seen in cemeteries. Some of
Yep.
them are actually digging into the graveyard. That one out of Ohio, there's a video of one digging into an area where cremains were buried or beside it.
Yes.
I wonder if there's some kind of connection with that. I mean, is that too far fetched? You think to think about?
I don't think it's far fetched at all, but I have encountered several areas that can be considered strictly for entertainment purposes a protector of the land, a protective spirit over graveyards, protective spirits over sacred areas. And a sacred area might not be just the graveyard, but there are ideas that Bigfoot, uh, Dogman, various cryptids, and even like Baba Yaga and sightings of various witches that they are all protectors of the environment and protectors of various parts of it. And you draw their ire by disrespecting those areas. If you go in and you're not being a jerk, you're not doing anything to draw their attention or, that you're going to be fine.
Oh yeah. I always go out into the woods with the best of intentions, okay, with an open heart, but also an FAFO, if y'all know what I mean, attitude as
Words.
well. Okay, we got to have some confidence out there, no matter what. You got as much right to be there as everything else does, in my opinion. Okay, but that is very interesting, and yeah, I mean, that's the same thing we tell people whenever we're going out there to go look for dogmen and Bigfoot as well. It's like, make sure you're out there with the right people who have the right intentions, or that could be deadly, you
Yeah,
know.
very much so.
Yeah, it could be. Do you find yourself doing search? I want to say search and rescue, but you're doing cadaver dog searches and stuff. Do you come across a lot of like Indian burial mounds and stuff? And how do your dogs react to that? And is that an issue? Like being out there around burial grounds and stuff for what you do.
Um, our team had a certification in an area that contained mounds, and all of the dogs that had been scented on aged remains worked the mound the same way, concentric circles like outside the perimeter of the mound, working and working and working until they got to the center of the mound. But not all mounds, here at least are burial mounds. Like here, they were utilized just to get people up out of the water line because of hurricanes and rain and stuff. So, and down here, there are mounds everywhere. Like, I live close to the Caloosahatchee River, and the entire length of the Caloosahatchee from Pine Island all the way over to the other side to Port St. Lucie, Hungry Land, all of those areas, there's mounds all through them. So, but it was different tribes. Like they were the ancient tribes of Florida were the Calusa, the Temecula, the Tocobaga, several different tribes, and they all kind of paid tribute to the Calusa were the main tribe, and they all paid tribute to the main tribe. They were called the people of the waters. So they were considered, I mean, they had a warrior class, which is considered very successful, to be able to feed all of your people, to maintain a strictly warrior class, to defend and to engage in war or even tournaments and such. So a lot of the words that we know, like barbecue, came from came from barbacoa, and there are like the tribes down here, and that we're gonna get gruesome. Like the Plains tribes, they had they would mount their bodies up on structures, and the birds and stuff would pick them apart, and then and they had actual people, members of the tribe called bone pickers, that would help to strip the flesh while the bodies were up here, and then only the long bones and the larger bones would be interred into the ground. So it was very similar. Like we have our prairies down here are like water prairies, marsh prairies, and the prairies over in the west are actual like dry prairies, but the uh, way they process the dead and the remains is the same. It's strange.
Whoa, that's wild. That's really
Yeah.
wild. So could that be confusing for your dogs? Like when you're out there doing the searches that you do and stuff. I mean, with all those, I mean, those are historical. I guess you actually do you actually have a scent? Okay, I'm trying to say how to word this. Do you have like clothing of like the person who's missing or anything
No.
like that before you go out?
Um, if it is a live find, then you look for, well, if it is a tracking dog, true tracking dog you work for, you look for a specific person. If it is an
Mhm.
air scent dog, they're just looking for any live person out there. So think disaster dogs, on
Mhm.
rubble piles. They don't know if Bob from the office, they don't know his odor, but they know if he's alive in there that they need to alert. So there are different jobs and different
Mhm.
ways of training. And a cadaver dog, actually, there are over 400 different and distinctive odors that are part of the process of human decomposition. All of them are there at the time of early decomposition. Only some of them are there as this process goes on. So they are training on a mixture of odors, which is more reminiscent of their training methods within the military and detection dogs, where they and some narcotics and stuff, where they'll clump a bunch of odors together and train on like all the different odors of explosives. Some places train specifically on each different odor of explosive, and some do the soup method.
Oh my god. This is absolutely incredible today. I'm fascinated by all this. I had no idea it was so like there were so many different facets to all of this. Lynn,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just knew there were search and rescue dogs. That's all I knew.
Well,
And
I mean, that's for the most part, unless, and that's what most people think, everybody, when they first get into it, they want to go out there and they want to find that missing little girl. My gosh, I want to be a tracking dog. I want to find that little girl in the woods. Her mom's missing her. Oh my God. And, my dog chose his odor. He, and I decided to go with it. And that's really the only, and down here, as a civilian, you will get more work as a human remains detection dog handler, because most places, they can utilize, or they will utilize, a patrol dog as a tracking dog, or they have access to bloodhounds throughout the prison system, or FBI bloodhounds or whatnot. So as a volunteer in the state of Florida, some other states are different. You get more work as a cadaver dog handler.
Oh my gosh, man,
Yes.
is this? Can I ask you? Like, this is something I've always wondered. Is this something that like you get hired to do and contracted to do, or is it like a volunteer basis, or is it all different for every dog handler?
It is a volunteer thing for the most part. So when you see this search and rescue team, they are volunteer handlers. So they have real jobs in the real world, and in their off time, they train these dogs and respond to them. If you respond to a disaster, like Hurricane Katrina, we were paid per diem, which, you're not really paid for your time, but, they feed you and they pay for your gas and stuff. Some law enforcement agencies will fill up your gas tank and feed you. For the most part, they'll fill up your gas tank and feed you. But then you get a lot of, like we had a lot of church ladies feed us. A lot of churches will stage searching areas, or they'll put out a volunteer call, and all the church ladies will come in and make fried chicken and put out a whole feed for people. So, and that's really awesome when that happens. So a missing person it is a tragedy, but it also draws communities together.
It does. I can imagine, and it's so tragic. It's similar with my team too. Like, we're not getting paid to like do remote viewing for missing persons cases and stuff. We do it because, first of all, I just love remote viewing. Okay, like we just
Right.
like to do it, and we don't even know, like when we're given targets, we don't even know that's from like a law enforcement thing, because that would kind of muddy up the data a little bit, because we would know if I get a high priority target, I subconsciously know this is very important. I have to drop everything and do this target right now. And so I kind of
Yes.
know there's a missing kid, or there's a deceased person, or there's somebody missing. It's top priority right now. Time is of the essence. So, but anyways, thank you for answering that. That's, man, it's such a wonderful thing that you're doing out there, and that all of these search and rescue people are doing, and the cadaver dog handlers, and man, it's a wonderful thing. And the number of missing people, oh my gosh, I think I had some stats here somewhere. Let me see if I can find them.
Can
It
I answer
is,
this question on the screen first?
yes,
So
please.
yes,
Yeah.
a dog will alert at every grave. I know people who do historic work with Native American boarding schools, industrial schools, like there's an industrial school here in Florida where a lot of the boys were killed. And so I know the handlers that go to these historic graveyards, they utilize both the dog and ground penetrating radar to mark these graves without disturbing the grave.
Oh wow. Well, so you're also out there looking for buried bodies, right? I mean, because uh, I was watching something the other day online, and they were showing this type of grass that was growing, and somebody said, "Well, that grass only grows where bodies are buried," and
Um,
so
I don't know about a specific grass that grows, but part of being a handler is knowing how to read the earth and looking at aerial photography, looking at the plants, because you are a form of nutrient. So you can tell that the dirt has been disturbed. We would use soil probes, like if we were on a fairly recent body, agricultural soul probes. This little guy right here, pardon the dog hair, that's freebie. But yeah, it takes a soil probe, and then you can tell if the ground has been disturbed. Uh, Looking at the vegetation, if there is more growth on one side, because now you're fertilizer, so you're helping the grass grow over here. You know where your body is going to be a dip, and uh, and like now they have lidar, which I think is wonderful, and you can see the historical use of pieces of and CalTopo is a wonderful like topographical maps. If you're into search and rescue, map reading, whatever, you know this, but CalTopo gives you lidar viewings of various pieces of property, and you can tell if it's a uh, like in Native American mounds. You can go out, and the mounds here, there's whole neighborhoods. It isn't just mounds, there's canals and ditches and mounds, and it was huge, expansive neighborhoods. So it wasn't, yes, and you can tell it all by lidar.
Oh man, that is just absolutely fascinating, Lynn. And yes, listen, that's part of like the land navigation stuff that we do, the tracking courses that I've taken and that my teams do pretty often. I haven't had one in a while, but doing all that,
I
you learn
would
to
get
read those maps.
lost.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man. Tracking it, and my teams have gone out like in blizzards, okay, because you got to be trained for like all the different seasons of the
Yep.
year, blizzards, snowstorms, humidity and heat and all that kind of stuff. It's and everything in between, y'all. Okay.
Hey, I was on the mission in Iraq that brought home the body of Michael Scott Spiker. He'd been missing for almost 20 years to the day. He was shot down in the opening um, moments of a Desert Storm, and it was hot. Like it was 124 degrees. There's no they keep an MRAP running all the time, so if it got real hot, you and the dog could go cool off. But it's hot, there's sandstorms, and you just got to give it your best. And like one handler had freaked out there. He didn't do well at all, and he got fired. I was supposed to be going home on break, and I got called out to do this, and I'm glad because my dog, they had found his remains before I got there, but then my dog, one of the only times in his life he did a passive alert, he lay right where his body had been found. And they tested me too. They had part of his skeletal remains were in a backpack of the personnel recovery guy. So they were testing me, and I could see when Rudy laid down, they were like, there was a F-18 pilot out there named BB for broke back. He had broken his back doing a hard landing, and so he was like poking the uh, major Torres and the first sergeant, hey, the dog's doing this. And I thought when the dog alerted on the backpack, I thought he was false alerting. I'm like, oh crap, I'm going to get fired. They're going to ship me the heck out of here. My dog just false alerted. And I look over at the PRD guy, and he goes, no, he's right. And I'm like, and so, but it was we were out there forever. It was hot. It was me, my dog, 124, 125 Marines, a military surgeon, a naval pilot. Yeah. So, yeah.
Actually, one of my good buddies is in the chat today. I think he's traveling. MT Paranormal Life. Mike Turnenkos is in here. Thank you, Mike, for being here. He served a good stint in the military, and he said that he was in Iraq in 2008, and he was working with cadaver dog handlers as well out there locating bodies. He said.
Lyn Parsons, Melissa Ellis, Al Dodds, 2008.
He was
Joe
there too.
Worsham.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. Cool.
So You might have met him actually out there in 2008.
I may
Yeah,
have. What member is, what branch of service was he?
he was in the. I think he was in the army, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know. I had to, Mike. If you're still in here, holler at us, okay? And
Okay, by
give us some backup.
most
Give
of
us some
our
backup.
missions in 2008 were for the missing 10th Mountain guys. The day after I got there in 2007, they were rolled up outside combat operating post, Cobb base, combat operating post in Sean. And uh, gosh, I forget. I think four were rolled up in total. One body was recovered fairly quickly, found floating in a river by spotted by a helicopter pilot, and then we searched for months when like Rudy found blood evidence in a village called Owasat looking for those guys, and yeah, so, but yeah, when we first started, we were looking for Matthew Moffin, and then it expanded to the 10th Mountain guys, and then it expanded further because the whole time I was there, we would explain the capability, the cadaver dog capabilities, go to the palace as different people who came in would explain through DMORT and whatnot. We were there. We were tasked with working both Afghanistan and Iraq. I personally never went to Afghanistan. But like one missing person, he was I think they were dropping supplies and he tried to go in an army guy to recover the supplies in Afghanistan, but one of the dog handlers, Kathy Holbert, she's from West Virginia. She's very familiar with uh, water turbines and dams and working fast moving water. So she was really able to look at the water itself, say, there's a water turbine here, look in the turbine. So they recovered his body without the handler ever having to step foot there. So a lot of knowledge that we have, we can just explain to someone else. You know, the people on the ground look for this or look for that, or so yeah.
Mhm.
And it's a learning experience. Like we were all like I was a stupid girl. I had never worked in a combat area. I'm walking like right down the middle of roads at first. I had to learn not to be a target. And I learned to like I came up running tracks for tracking dogs at night, you know, so that's how I got comfortable in the swamps at night was running tracks for the live fine dogs. And so I would deliberately make it easy on the dogs. You know, I'd leave little scent pads and I'd scratch off and I'd make it easy for the handlers to see my footprints. But after I had worked over there and I started taking some SEER classes, I like once I came home, when I go out in the woods now, I'm deliberately trying not to leave tracks. And I have to think, Lyn, you're not evading the enemy here because that's where my brain now goes automatically because the most traumatic experiences of my career were over there and the most potentially fatal mistakes that I made. And I had multiple heat injuries because I have ADHD and I don't know when to stop. So I had a heat injury in Panama. I had a heat injury during my land navigation course. And each heat injury that you have makes you more prone to another heat injury. So it helps in that I'm able to spot it with others. Like I'm on a one of the 10th Mountain searches. We had a lieutenant out on a search. They're working our dogs past the point of working. They're putting us on foot patrols, and uh, no a detection dog once their body heat rises, their nose stops working. So I was usually put with either a medic or the radio guy when I would go out with these guys. And so we're going too far. The medic, he's having an obvious heat issue. He's red and white blanched. And we're like taking shelter in an orchard grove and resting. And I like throw Rudy's leash off and I start yelling, and his guys were pulling his boots off and pulling his clothes off and exposing his belly and pouring water on him and stuff. And the guy looks up at me and he's like, "You remind me of my mom," because I'm like 36 at the time and these guys are 18, 19, 20 years old. And this lieutenant's on the radio, and he's, "We need this," and da da da. And I'm once again popping off going, "Well, the only person who could treat us here is having a heat issue himself, and we're running out of water," and da da da, and just laying into this lieutenant. And so of course I go back, I'm like, "Crap, I'm fired. I've just totally my first mission out and I'm completely fired." And like when I get back to Baghdad, the guy who sent me out, Sergeant First Class Love, he'd sent me out. He's like, "These guys are natural born killers. You got to be hard out there. You got to do this." And I come back and I don't like, none of these guys are telling me anything, but I get off the helicopter and walk in and he shakes my hand. He's like, "I heard what you did out there. Thank you." And, because I mean, lieutenants are only as good as their first sergeant, and like a lieutenant is, yes, they're an officer, but they don't have a lot of experience. So first officer is usually put in anyway. But yeah, I
You're
kind of
tough
laid
as
into him.
nails. Yeah, you're just tough as nails, Lynn, and you got baptized in the fire on that one,
Very much
literally.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we're
did.
walking by a cow that its leg had been blown off, a dead cow, and we're
Oh,
not like, this is definitely not Kansas anymore.
oh my gosh. Well, MT says, Mike says, at that time I was 56 Stryker
Yeah,
Brigade, around 112th Infantry. It was early 2009 was more accurate, he said. Uh,
yep. I rolled with a striker brigade several times. We were at Triangle of Death most of the times I worked. And yeah, there's not any room in there. You're crammed in like a sardine can. You think these big vehicles and these big guys that you would have room, but you don't.
no.
You're knees to knees and elbows to elbows, dogs at my feet, crammed in amongst these guys. And but you
Right.
work with a group after a while, and they adopt you. They adopt the dog. They're like, "This is our girl. This is our dog. You don't mess with them." So it was cool.
That's excellent. He said the information that he said that he got wasn't much. Wasn't much. There was a contractor that was killed. His remains were buried somewhere, but there probably more intel with the handler and the higher ups. He said so. He didn't know a whole lot about it,
Yeah,
but they're looking for a body.
there are still people missing. There is a truck driver named Terry Bell who was never brought home. Some contractors and people were turned over to the embassy for the reward. There's a large reward offered for people, but yeah, that could have been yeah, some contractors were, there was a master sergeant that had retired, came back as contractor. He was killed, and we looked for him for a while, so it may have been him.
Well, my uncle, I think, was over there around that time, if I'm not mistaken. He was actually 82nd Airborne, and
Yeah.
command sergeant. He retired as a command sergeant major, and but he stayed there working for Halliburton, I think, like contracting stuff, and Kellogg Corporation or something like that. I don't know, something
Oh
like
yeah.
that. Okay, but he stayed there for a long time, and
Oh
so he
yeah.
was in there for a while. Yeah,
It
I know.
You get addicted to the adrenaline rush. You believe in the mission. You feel like what you are doing is part of it. You will hide your own injuries, and yeah. So yeah.
Max says crammed in like Wiener sausages instead of sardines.
That's right.
Funny.
That's for
That's
sure.
funny. That's really funny. Lyn, I wanted to ask you, we got a lot of questions to go over today, okay, after I ask you this, but I mean, I have a picture that I don't know if you sent me this or if I might have just taken it off your website on Facebook, but this is you. Tell me what's going on here. Is this a mass grave? This is you and your dog right here over in Iraq, correct?
This is a Bath party house on Camp Slayer. It has the remains of, actually, it's over 200 people now that I think it was 212 or 214 people were still in place. So it was a training exercise to expose the dog's nose to large amounts to mass graves, basically.
Wow, that is interesting. Okay, so this is in the element right here, and so that place had to have been energized, I guess is the good way to describe it, right? What kind of do you ever get? I know you're an empath, right? You're an empath. Are you picking up on the trauma of all this land while you're there, and how did that affect you?
It's heavy, hard to breathe. You get nauseous, hot, headache. Yeah.
Was there? Of course, I got to ask you this because I was actually somebody put me in some little video or something. Me and Nick Sylvester, it's mostly Nick, but about dogmen in the Middle East. Okay, I know I gotta kind of bridge this a little bit here with some cryptid stuff, and there are a lot of cryptids in the Middle East. A lot of cryptid sightings, especially dogmen, jinn as well. A lot of creepy entities over there. Uh, I would assume that you have encountered stuff like that. I would assume being out there on these mass graves and places where there's a lot of bloodshed and trauma and things like that. Did you have any experiences like that while you were overseas?
No, but I was not really at a place in my life where I was open to that. I mean, when I traveled, when my mom passed and I did all of that, and I just grew up. I would fuss at them. It was part of life. Stop turning on my radio when I turn it off. Stop turning my TV off in the morning so it wasn't just, but I did not. And most of the time when we were out there was a whole lot going on. Like, we didn't go out unless we had full security. And so I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of weird stuff. And at night, like, I'm a woman, and even on missions, our job depended, we stayed with whoever we were tasked to be with, whether it was Marines or Army or whatever. So, and they had night vision, and the land is flat. So you wander off trying to find a secret place to do your business, and there is no secret place to do your business.
Oh
So,
God.
and those guys are a lot of fun, and but they can also be a giant pain in the butt. So
Hey, listen, when we're out in the woods, I always have to make sure I'm not around anybody with night vision when I have to go. We call it
yes,
watering trees.
yes,
That's a little TMI for the audience, I'm sure. But when you're out there in the woods with the Bigfoot and crowd, cryptid crowd, everybody's got night vision and thermals and stuff. So be careful who you're camping near. Okay.
yeah. You can't hide your clumsiness. You can't hide your potty breaks. You can't, and they've got ears, like electronic ears. So if you're gonna sit around, because I've done this myself, gossiping about people, someone's gonna hear you.
That's the same when you're out doing Bigfoot stuff because everybody's got a recorder. People
Yeah,
have those bionic ears. Nothing is secret out there. Okay.
no,
So that's why I only go in the woods with people that I trust.
yeah,
Trust 100%. That aren't going to watch. Nobody wants to watch me anyways. Okay. But I'm just saying it's similar. It's similar
yeah.
there. It's too
Well,
funny.
it's the same kind of guys, they're fun, but they are guys, and
They're still
they're
here.
But I mean, we do the same stuff. When you gotta, I love hanging with a group of girls and cackling and making lewd jokes. I mean, when I was over there, a lot of the dog handlers that were there were female. So, Lieutenant Pookie Pie was one of my crushes. And, so, we are very much in tuned, I think, some ways.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mike says this is MT that was in Iraq, 2009. He said places like that in Iraq, especially where I view first, and lots of death makes you feel sick to the stomach to be around, and
Yeah.
the smell is something you'll never forget as well.
Oh yeah, after I worked Hurricane Katrina, I was there for like 10 weeks after the flood. And once I got home for a week afterwards, every time I washed my hair, it fluffed that odor up again because the adipocere and the greasy substances and it's like bleach. When you clean with bleach and the odor hangs in your nostrils, it will do the same.
Oh, that's what the guys on my team who went up to the body farm said. They said that you just can't get that smell out of your system,
Yeah.
no matter what. And do you wear like stuff in your nose? Like do you put like nose plugs on? Like how do you even deal with that, Lynn?
No, because you will be picked on by
You
your other
will.
people. Yep. If you
I just
can't, as
have to
part
get
of
picked
it.
up. Dang it.
Yeah. And you will be look, you will be hazed too. Like I've been sent to pick up a load of gnarly towels and because nobody else wanted to deal with them. That had been a body had come in after being buried, and like the towels were full of blow maggots, big gnarly. So carrying it home, I'm like hanging out the window with the window open, and it was terrible. And after that I learned, all right, we're gonna mount some stuff to the vehicle so we can put the coolers that we carry that stuff outside the vehicle so I don't have to live with it inside the vehicle.
People be like, "What is that smell coming down the street? If y'all
I have
smell
no
different,
idea.
y'all need to check for a dead body back there." Golly. Oh man. It's I always try to make light of stuff a little bit and like find a little bit of humor in this because this is really, really sad stuff here, we're talking about. But at the same time, it's so important what you do. Bruce has actually been to the body farm. Bruce Brown's in the chat. Hey Bruce. He said
Yeah.
put Vaseline in your nose. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
or the mentholated kind so that you only smell the mentholated stuff.
Oh my gosh. Well, I would be worried that even that would like get stuck, like a smell would get stuck in that Vaseline and make it even worse. That's what I
It
thought.
will. It will.
Yeah. Danged if you do, danged if you don't. Okay,
Yep.
is what it sounds like. But man, yeah, I have no plans to go to the body farm anytime soon, personally. Okay,
No.
but I have been talking a lot about this dead Bigfoot body that's allegedly been found up in the Adirondacks. Okay, and I don't know. I don't think that's a real Bigfoot, Lynn. I don't know. Have you been following that?
I'm not following, but I saw it. No.
Eh, there's no way. I mean, being a cadaver dog handler, what you think that's even possible? This guy's found a dead Bigfoot and like nobody's come to pick it up, like the government or anything. Nobody's questioning it.
No.
No, no.
Allegedly for entertainment purposes. Only my opinion. Only. No.
Yeah, just your opinion. Okay. Well, have you ever? Okay, now this is whether you're out there tracking or doing any kind of a course, or you're actually on the scent of cadavers, dead bodies. Have you ever come across anything strange? Because I know you sent me a couple of pictures that look like you might have run into maybe a Bigfoot.
That actually was part of Kerry Arnold. He passed away a while back. I'm a breast cancer survivor. His mother had passed of breast cancer, and he is from a part of Mississippi that my mother's family is from. So I came in to do Bigfoot Odyssey 168 hours as a first aid person and uh, expert on the environment, subject matter expert of the swamps because I had spent so much time searching for people in swamps and whatnot. And so that particular area, I was just out taking pictures of the plants and I was interested in the mounds. I just started researching the native tribes, the ancient native tribes here. So I was just trying to photograph the slope of the mounds, various things. And there had been a sighting the day before by two of the researchers, and I went out with the one photo that looks like something running away with something on its hip. I was uh, I went down below the mounds to one of the ancient canals that's from the natives, thinking there would be water there, and I was getting freaked out. Like I was totally scared. Something felt off, and I just pointed the camera. I took one photograph, and then I ran back to Barry because I'm yelling at him. I'm like, Barry, come here. And Barry's already feeling weird. He's like, no, you come here. So, yeah, I snapped that, and then I hauled butt. And then the other photo was just I wanted to to show the slope of the mound, and I got to looking at the photos later and saw something weird in the background.
Ooh, I think you might just have you a Bigfoot hanging out back there, Lynn. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool. What kind of a mound is that? Like an Indian burial mound?
it is
Yeah.
it is several mounds. That particular area is mounds and ditches. You can actually I think Jimmy Barr schedule does a camp out there. You can camp right in that area with they do it with like Boy Scout groups and whatnot at Dupuy Wildlife Management Area in Florida. It's east of Lake Okeechobee, and yeah, so it's mounds and stuff. So there's Bigfoot, there's panther, orbs every night. It's like a light show every night. You sit out there in the dark. We sat out there night after night, and it was absolutely. We saw red orbs, blue orbs, big basketball sized, like amber colored orbs that looked like something was inside of it, and like running the uh, tree line around us. There's an old home place there. A Florida family had come in because the natives of that area were killed out 400 years ago, totally wiped out. So these mounds and canals and ditches have been not maintained for 400 years, and they always hold water. There's always vegetation. There's always game there, and
Mhm.
people are not allowed to really go in and hunt. And it's an open hunting area, but in that particular area of the mountains, you're not allowed to hunt or do anything stupid. And they do have, it's got to be like pressure plate sensors or hidden cameras or something because they know when you're there. And if you're not properly registered, your vehicle and stuff, a Fish and Wildlife will show up and want to know what the heck you're doing. And so, yeah.
Dang. They got those flock cameras out there in the swamp.
They do. They have a
They
flock
probably
camera
do.
on Loop Road where uh like the biggest alligator area is. People feed the alligator. That's why I think they have it there to spot that. But yeah, you can't.
Feeding the
They have it
alligator.
everywhere.
What
Yeah.
people go take them chickens and stuff or what? Feeding
People
the
will
alligator.
do stupid things. Like Loop Road is actually it's one of my favorite roads, but it's like it's an open dirt road. I've seen a child sitting in the window of a car, like Dukes of Hazzard style, directly over an alligator in a canal underneath him. and freaked out that child was going to fall on top of the alligator. And I took a friend of mine's daughter out there. I'm like, yeah, let's go Bigfoot hunting. So we're cruising, and the daughter's like 11, 12 or so, and we're cruising down Loop Road, and I'm letting out a howl every so often, and we're looking. And so we stop at this one area, and I can tell her face changed. I'm driving, and she's like looking out of the passenger side, and I can see her face change. I'm like, is there an alligator there? She's like, yeah. So I stop, and we get out, and the alligator starts growling and coming toward us. And I'm like, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. And so, yeah, some of them get fed. And if it was just me, it would have been fun. But I didn't want to feed my friend's child to an alligator. And, but yeah,
Well,
it's,
Lyn, my parents used to take my sister and my brother and I to Wakulla Springs when we were kids, and we used to swim with the alligators
oh, yeah.
out there. So like, I'm not over here. I'm not going to clutch my pearls today, okay? Because I know I was one of those kids that was in the water with the alligators when I was a kid, and I joke around about. First of all, I had to learn how to swim really fast, trial by fire, okay?
Yeah.
And I had to, if I wanted to live. God, I can't believe my parents did that. I still don't. But because we would swim out to a dock, and then we'd get to the dock, and the only thing that stopped the alligators from coming into the swimming area from the glass bottom boat area and the jungle boat cruise area was a rope.
Yeah.
It was a rope and a lifeguard. That was it. Yeah. So we swam for our lives.
Yeah, for the most part, they don't mess with you unless they've been fed. It's the same with anything. A fed bear becomes a nuisance bear, a fed alligator becomes a nuisance alligator.
Oh my God. Well, hopefully they were feeding those alligators pretty good and not the kids out there. That's wow.
Yeah.
It was one of those core memories of my childhood, though, for sure. I don't think my parents remember it the same way that I remember it, of course, but that's just the nature of the game, Okay, but so there were some questions about the picture that you had. There were some orbs and stuff. Of course, it's very dusty in Iraq, so some people were wondering if those were orbs, maybe like spirits. My personal opinion, I would say that's probably dust. What do you think, Lyn?
My camera didn't show dust anywhere else.
Oh, it didn't. Okay,
Yeah.
let me pull that back up.
I took other pictures. It was only in that room that camera showed that.
Whoa, that's really cool. So maybe those are spirits.
Yeah. I have another picture of one of the gentlemen I served with in Alpha Palace, and I ended up giving him a puppy later, him and his family. But he's got my dog, and dogs. He was an Air Force guy, and had been a law enforcement officer in Thomasville, Georgia, before he joined the Air Force. So he was part of my chain of command, and we would go to the so anyway, he's posing with the dog, and the dog had like a number 6 level security badge, which is the highest because the dog always outranks you, and no one's worried about the dog telling secrets, so they have the highest security level. And so anyway, he's posing with the dog with a higher security level than he is. And anyway, it's cute, but there's orbs there, like in the palace around him and my dog. So I'm like, so only in areas where, and there was lots of death there. Like you can watch old footage of special forces taking over Alpha Palace, and so it was lots of stuff went on there.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. lots of spirits that probably are not at rest, I would think too. I mean, we get so much. That's why I'm so curious about this too, with these, especially with the mass graves. We have a concentrated area of cryptid activity wherever there are like Civil War and Revolutionary War battlefields, especially down here in the South and up through Gettysburg, all over the country, but mostly down in the South and up the East Coast.
Yeah. That's the same down here with the Seminole Wars. Like just because these, like the mound areas, the ancient tribes that were decimated by the Spaniards through forced labor, no resistance to diseases, and superior weaponry. Um, like the people down here, the natives down here, they were huge compared to the Spaniards. Like you'll find accounts of really tall people, like they would be like 6'1" or 6'5". The natives here, when at the time the average Spaniard was 5'6". So in a hand-to-hand battle, the natives had more reach and had the advantage because they were bigger, stronger guys, but the Spaniards had
The gun.
weapons like the guns, the booms, so and diseases that and biological warfare is not new. It has always been from the time that man figured out, hey, these people get these weird little bumps if you contaminate this, or these
Mhm.
people die, but humans are the most evil critter on the face of the planet as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it's but those mounds, like they were those natives were gone, but the Seminole Wars, the Seminole and Miccosukee, which are actually Creek members of the Creek tribes that came down to kind of fill in the void that was left by the ancient tribes. They utilized those areas during the Seminole Wars, and there were three different time periods of Seminole Wars, and to hide from the troops. And they were like, there's a story legend of Hungry Land Wildlife Management Area that when the Brigadoons, yeah, went in to surround this group of Seminoles, they had kind of gotten into this hammock. The Indians came out to parley with them, and they said, "This is our homeland." And the dragoons, that's it, dragoons, told them this will be your hungry land. And so every night the natives would build fires around the edges of the hammock for light so they could see if the dragoons were coming in toward them. And every night these fires were lit for 3 weeks straight until one night there were no more fires. The dragoons went in and they found one black Seminole woman who had slowly starved to death, who had kept those fires lit so that her people could escape and live. And that is like the base of the Miccosukee tribe now. And it is the legend of weird lights, flickering lights, and orbs have been there for hundreds of years. And that, in that particular area, is thought to be Hungry Land Woman, the legend of Hungry Land Woman.
Wow, what a tough as nails woman right there. I
Yep,
mean, wow. That's an amazing
yep,
story. I've not heard that before.
yep, yep, very much. It's there the
Wow.
all of America has these stories. All battlefields, all women were always a part of war, whether they chose to be a part or not. So I just looked at it as choosing to go it your own way.
That's right. I even named my company after a war. It's called War Woman. Okay, War
Yep,
Woman.
yep,
Just to almost like memorialize all the tough women. Okay, and of course, there's some Cherokee, history behind that as well with the War
yep.
Women, the War Woman, right? And so, man, that's fantastic. Well, that could be, why there's, places of like sacred ground like that. That's where the cryptids are found. And some say they're there because they have been summoned there because the land has been cursed or the land has been blessed, right? And so they're there to protect that land at all costs. And that's the Bigfoots, the dogmen, everything, whatever's out there.
I'm a
So,
member of a group called of Hungry Land Homeowners, which I don't own property out there. When they figure out I don't, they'll probably kick me out. But I occasionally ask a question, hey, has anyone seen anything weird out there? Because I saw very weird things out there, and other members of the other people I was there saw very weird things. Most of the time I get, yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but one person said, yes, we went out, we're two groups of friends, and they encountered something the shape of nightmares. It was like, okay, what is what would be the shape of a, I mean, a dog man would be the shape of a nightmare to me. Or an angry skunk ape. Rah! You know, that would be a nightmare to me. Oh, I think can I hear you? I can't hear you. Ah, hang on. I gotta, hang on. Ah, let's, can you hear me? Okay, I cannot hear you. Oh no.
Oh, actually, I had the mute button pushed, y'all. So it was me. Oh my gosh, she thought it was her. It was me the whole time. I'm over here talking and I had my mute button pushed. Golly, I tell you what. I tell you what, Lynn, that was my fault. I actually, Lynn, that was all my fault. I had the mute
Oh
button
no.
pushed on my microphone. So it wasn't you at all. That was me the whole time.
Oh crap.
I was sitting here talking and had the mute button pushed. So somehow that happened. Okay.
Doo-doo occurs.
It was me. It was me. This is gonna go in the bloopers reels. Okay.
Oopsie.
That was my bad. But yeah, now I forgot what we were talking about. Okay. After we were talking about the war women and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Remember hitting the mute button.
Yeah, it's all good. We're yeah, so I like doing all of that stuff. I anything spooky or weird and I'm in. I took some friends out to Marie Dumont and Natalie Smearman, Cheryl Peacock, and Bob. I don't know Bob's last name. Anyway, I took them out to check out the Calusa Spook Light, and Bob wasn't sure that like they had all their expensive night vision and stuff, and Bob wasn't sure he had locked his Jeep. So and I didn't feel safe with Bob just going back alone, so I split off from them. Stop it. My dogs are being bad. So I split off from them. Bob and I go back and we're checking out the snakes and stuff and bugs and, you know, like moths and stuff have glowing eyes. And we're just nerding out as we're going along. And suddenly we hear Marie and Cheryl and Natalie screaming. And we look back and they're running out. And they didn't see a light, but something was stalking them in the dry long grass, you know, and it was getting closer and closer to them as they were moving and was freaking them out. And Natalie pulled out her bear spray and just sprayed the heck out of them and took off running. So I went back the next day and I found a panther track. And panthers don't normally track or mess with people, but like one of the spirit animals and protectors of the Calusa tribe is a panther woman. So I tell them maybe they encountered the panther woman. This is an actual reproduction that came out of a dig on Marco Island. So this was one of their deities, and they have masks that some of the masks look like Bigfoot mask or Bigfoot faces.
Like a booger mask.
A booger mask, yeah. Like their medicine men would wear, and yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic. That's actually quite scary. There are they say there's no black panthers around and stuff. Oh, there's panthers, there's mountain lions and panthers and all that. I mean, my goodness, their football team is called the Jacksonville Jaguars or something.
Yeah.
They're the Jaguars. All right. So they're out there. And
Yeah, one of my friends, she's a member of the Panther clan. She's Betty Osceola. So yeah, it's absolutely.
oh man, well that's really cool. Now the Panther woman, I need to look into that a little bit more for sure.
Yeah.
Sounds yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, Lynn, we have a couple of questions. Let me see if I can hit these before we go today. Okay, I think we might have talked about most of these. Let's see. Beverly wanted to know, can any type of a dog be trained to be a human remains finder? Okay, like a cadaver dog.
It
Can
is
much be trained?
generally um, not considered a good thing for, say, a flat faced breed like a pug or a French bulldog, like I have. But you want over the top toy drive. I mean, all this dog wants is a toy, a ball, a flat tug. They would run over someone to get to the toy. They would run through fire to get through the toy. So that is, and you can bond them and somewhat build that drive. But you start with a dog that just wants hunt drive, and play drive are what you're looking for.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering that. Let's see. Boogie wants to know, out of all the bodies found, what is the most common reason for death? Is there a pattern? Do you see patterns with the deaths of people that you're searching for?
Um, well, I mean, I'm generally called out for, or would be called out for, stateside, it would be homicide, um, or disaster. Uh, just, and it could be, all kinds of different reasons. I've worked, areas where there was a group of marijuana growers, car thieves, who killed one of their own, and so there's this huge alligator, it was an old phosphate mine, and so generally homicide, or it's, if I
So,
went out, it was going to be a bad thing, or an accident, suicide, or someone lost their life when they didn't
mhm.
plan to. So yeah, it's never a good thing, that's for sure.
That sounds really just tough. So man, that's really, it's kind of terrible, but it's also wonderful that you're out there to help with that. And Beth has a question. Hey Beth, she says, has Lynn done missing 411 people? Like, have you gone out and any of the cases are like people missing in our national parks? Have you ever done any of those cases?
I've searched in national parks, but we've generally, those were found, or I'm not sure. Nothing stuck at me from
Mhm.
there. But there are too many instances of portals, and listening to people talk about portals and seeing it, and I believe anything is possible. There are a lot of different ideas about portals and quantum physics, and some thoughts that it doesn't take, like something doesn't have to come all the way through a portal, like poof, I'm a whole Bigfoot, but could just push a hand through and push you down if they wanted to mess, like open a portal and push you down if in a
Yeah.
certain area. Because I've heard things about that, but there are weird things in the world of which we are still learning, and I
Mhm.
would not put portals past it.
Oh no, my team has documented a portal out in the field at an undisclosed location here in the South somewhere, one of our research areas, and sent two of the gentlemen to go check it out. And they have since passed away, both of them.
Yeah.
But that was, it's very dangerous. You know, when you're dealing with the areas that you go to, it's very much like where we're going and investigating cryptids and stuff. There's, anytime there's any kind of paranormal activity, we get spikes of radiation out there and
Yeah.
stuff. So we've got to be really careful out there, Lynn. And I'm not sure how to protect so much against it. If you don't see it, you don't know where it's at. But we're
Yeah.
we're picking up on stuff like that out in some of these areas where there's high concentration of cryptids. So, got it.
Yeah.
One more thing to have to look out for, basically.
Word.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Well, I think we've covered. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more questions, but those are the ones that I had put stars on today, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this today, Lyn. Gosh, I really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me today and explaining to the audience and myself all about cadaver dog handling and uh, some of the encounters that you've had out there. And thank you for sharing those pictures with us today. And
Oh, you're quite welcome. I've had a blast.
thank you. Well, I hope you'll come back and hang out with me. I actually want to come down there. Maybe we'll go snake wrangling one day or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. I'll take you out and we can
Yeah.
look for orbs and go skunk ape tracking. And I mean, I say I've changed my search and rescue into searching for critters now. Use a lot of the same methods. So why not?
We sure do. Actually, some of the most fondest memories of some of the guys on my team, some of they have, is going down to the green swamp. I hear about the green swamp all the time from them. I know
Yeah.
Craig got ran out of there one night. He had to go. I'm just gonna say water a tree or something. I don't know what he was doing, but anyways,
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to go and apparently there was some kind of big old alpha Bigfoot down there and it chased him out of there. Literally screamed and ran him out of there. And I
There,
think it was after a hurricane or something. He said,
yeah, I could imagine like hurricanes come with barometric pressure, and barometric pressure changes gives me headaches. I've seen it affect dogs on a search. Um, yeah, so and I would think that any of these weather changes would affect every other animal out there. I have burrowing owls in my yard in the berm over by my house. They were gone before the hurricane came in, and it took 'em months to come back.
"Oh wow, oh my gosh." Well, that's that's apparently. I mean, and here's my thing too. We're talking about the barometric pressure and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I think the cryptids are very much affected by all that, just like we are, and
Yeah.
also all these frequencies and these energy weapons and stuff, Lyn, and
And
the towers, if you know what I mean.
and underwater sonar, X-rays, LiDAR, all of these things are wonderful technologies to help, but they are also causing issues, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Ripples.
Yes. Yes. Well, now we're finding out there's undersea bases and I mean submarines all over the place too, and all that kind of stuff. It all affects animals. That includes Bigfoot and Dogman. Okay, it just does. So I don't know. Well, this will be to be continued because I want to bring you back on the show sometime, Lyn, and I would love listen. Next time I'm down in Florida, I'll holler at you. Okay, and we'll go do
Yeah,
some
please
Bigfoot.
do.
Yes.
I have a whole library of spooky Florida haunted stuff, cryptids. So yeah, the come on down.
Shoot, yeah, I'll be there. And listen, you're from where I'm from, basically around the same area. So next time you come up this way, you holler at me. Okay. I was going to ask you
Yeah,
one more thing. Have you ever been out to the Etowah Indian Mounds?
I have. I did that as a field trip when I was a wee teeny little knee high to a grasshopper kind of girl.
There's dogman sightings. There's multiple dogman sightings and reports 10 miles from there, 10 miles south up in Paulden, North Paulden.
Yep. And that
Okay.
waterfall has a graveyard up in
High
Paulden.
Trails. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
that's right. I got cousins that live on that road. They didn't know anything about the werewolf. I don't think a long time ago. They do now, I'm sure, but I don't think they believe in all that stuff.
Ah,
I
they're
don't think
lost.
I know they don't. I know it is what it is. They'll believe it when they see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so some people they'd like to keep their head in the sand. Okay, they don't want to know. They don't want to know. Okay, and I respect that. Good luck, good night, and good luck.
Yeah.
But but anyways,
Hope
yes.
that doesn't
So
come back to bite you.
I know, right? Literally,
Yeah.
literally. Oh man. Well, Lyn, is there anything that you'd like to promote, or is there any kind of programs or anything you're working on right now? What's anything you want to talk about before we go today?
Um, I have a very small channel. I have like 18 subscribers. I tell my search and rescue stories, and on that I go to I go snake hunting. So over there, you'll find just my stories and some videos of snakes where I just say, oh, this is a water moccasin or copperhead or diamondback or whatever.
We need that. What is your channel called?
It's it's just this where I am. It's just Lyn Parsons.
Lyn Parsons.
I think it's Lyn
Okay.
Parsons 13 maybe.
Okay.
If I
Y'all look up
touch
Lyn
my
Parsons.
screen, I will kill all the audio. So
Well,
maybe Gary knows where it is
here,
and
I'll
can
pull it
put
up. Hold on one second. We're going to pull it up. Let's see. Actually, I will put the link in the comments after the show today. Lyn
perfect.
Parsons YouTube. Okay. Let's see if I can pull it up. Well, there's another Lyn Parsons. There's a couple Lyn Parsons. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be
But that's
just the
not the
one with
same one.
the Luna moth
Okay.
on it.
Okay. Well, I have to find it after the show. Okay. I'll
Yeah.
find it after the show, and I will post your link on there. But y'all look up Lyn Parsons on YouTube. Okay. With the
Yay.
Luna moth. Okay.
With Luna
Yeah.
moth.
Y'all subscribe. Listen, snakes. That's a very important thing for people to know. My buddy Chris Harper, out of Georgia. He's gone out with my Bigfoot research team a lot. He's one of the lead in my book. He's one of the leading venom experts, I think, in the country. He teaches courses on venomous snakes, and if I were to get bitten by a snake, I would immediately call that guy. Okay, or I'd have somebody call him. And so, do you work with venomous snakes, right? I know you're anti-venom, right?
Anti-venom, yeah, like your anti-venom. Anyway, but yeah, and I volunteered with the Jekyll Island Sea Turtle Center for several years, and was a docent in the gallery and did sea turtle patrol, and then worked with the graduate student who was doing his stuff on venomous snakes and box turtles. So I know a lot of really stupid facts about turtles and snakes and stuff.
That's never stupid. That is never stupid. We got to know about our snakes, especially when we're out there in the woods like you and I both are.
Right.
Gotta be able to know what's out there and what to look for, and when to wear our snake chaps out there. Okay.
Well, snake boots, snake chaps are too hot.
They are, aren't they? Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'd rather just get bit. I'm just kidding. To wear all those hot boots, it's too hot.
Yeah.
But I'm kidding.
Gators.
And gators. Man, are we a little bit crazy? I think you and I are both a little bit crazy being out there doing what we do.
Probably a lot crazy.
A lot crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, Lyn, thank you again so much for being here today. And I wanted to also thank, let me get on the list real quick, because I muted myself, y'all. So I was thanking some of the people in the audience who have donated with the like Ingeneb, and y'all couldn't hear me. Okay. So Angel, thank you so much for the super sticker. And Skip, thank you so much for the super sticker today. Caleb J, thank you so much for being a member of the Hunt Club for 18 months. That is so sweet. I appreciate your support. And Ingeneb, thank you for the super sticker. She says, this has been a great show. Thank you, Lyn, for sharing your experience. So thank you so much, Ingeneb. Yes, thank you so much. And yes, I just want to thank you too, Lyn. Thank you again for your service. I think that you're doing a wonderful service to humanity, and congratulations on your new job too. By the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. All right. Well, any final thoughts? Do you have any words of advice before we go today to the audience from your field of work, and anything you'd like to leave the audience on today?
Everyone goes out, and even with GPS or whatever, can find themselves turned around, and stay in one place. Don't keep walking. Everyone has a dominant leg, so people will naturally walk in circles because of the dominant leg. Pick a tree, hug a tree, sit down and wait for someone to come to you.
That is really good advice. We need to tell our kids that too, y'all. Okay.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Yes. Don't, you're just going to get more lost if you keep
Yep.
walking. Okay.
And you're going to become more dehydrated. You're going to be more stressed out. The more you are stressed out, the less rationally you think. Sit down, breathe, be calm. You cannot, the most, you got to have water, shelter. You can starve for a while, but water and shelter are your two main things you need to survive.
Yeah. So learn how to build those debris huts. Listen, I think about 90% of the tree structure things that people send me, the stick structures, they're all human made and they're all debris huts. Okay.
Yeah.
So learn how to build a debris hut, y'all. I'll
Yep.
do it. We'll do some how-to videos one day over here on the channel.
Absolutely. We'll do
Yeah.
how-tos and teach
Yeah.
people everything.
That's what we need. Yes. In the meanwhile, my team does have a tracking video, and I may have one or two of those on my website. If you guys, I don't know if I saw them on my website, but if anybody's interested, and you want a tracking video that shows you how to make debris huts, holler at me. We have some DVDs. We still have a DVD player, y'all. If you guys want to get some of those. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, Lyn, thank you so much again for being here. Do you still have dogs today? I heard you say something about your dog. You still got dogs?
I do. I have a young Belgian Malinois named Nora. She's named after my Aunt Nora that was my protector. She would have taken on a bear to protect me, so Nora is now my protector. I have a French bulldog named Herc. I have a dog named Squeak that I trapped in the Everglades. It took me days to trap him, and instead of rehoming him, he was so smart and fast. I kept him. I call him my varmint dog. I have another mix, and I have a Labrador mix named Daisy.
Oh, so you have a lot of dogs. You got a
I
lot
am
of dogs.
dog rich. I am dog rich.
You're wealthy in dogs. I love that.
Yes.
That just means wealthy in love. Lots of love.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. Well, tell your dogs I said hey, and I'm gonna get Buddy into some training. Okay, and I'm gonna start training him and myself. I would like to start doing some search and rescue stuff. I think one day that
Teach
might
him
be
to find.
in the future.
Teach him to find your son. So if your son gets lost, he knows exactly who he's looking for.
That is a wonderful idea. I will. I'll do that. We'll start taking him out in the woods to do that. Absolutely. Okay.
Use a
Well,
hat.
thank you so much. Yes, that's
Yep.
going to be great. Okay. Well, y'all have a great day. I hope y'all enjoyed the show as much as I did. Thank you so much to everybody who's been in the chat today and stuck around with us. Y'all come back and see me tomorrow night. I have Jimmy Payne coming back on the show, and we're going to be talking about Project Adam tomorrow night. And that is actually where this actual government program where they were taking children and turning them into super soldiers. And we're going to also get into where a lot of these missing 411 people have actually been taken. And this is the real deal. This is for real, y'all, actually. And we talk about the secret space programs. We're talking about off-planet locations and things like that. It's going to be super wild. It's going to be really fun. So y'all come back and see me tomorrow night. And I don't mean fun, like that's a good topic. It's really sad, actually. But it's going to be a really great show. Former MIB agent Jimmy Payne will be here tomorrow night. Okay. So, Lyn, thanks again so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. I hope to see you soon in person. And y'all stay safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel, y'all, but don't live in fear. And come back and see me tomorrow night. All right, y'all. Have a great day. Bye, y'all.